tournaments, but I didn't do too well. And then Madden 19 was the first year where I started, making money in tournaments and everything. And that was when I started, like actually labbing up the game with other players and everything. And then, the same thing with this year as well. So yeah.
Nice, nice. So I'll give you a little background on myself. I've been streaming for about 2 years, a couple months. Took off pretty big. Started out with like Fortnite and Madden. I've always been a Madden guy. I've been playing Madden since I was a little kid, back in the Sega time. Like I'm older than you.
Mm.
So I've been playing since it first came out when they were pixelated little characters. But I've really grown into the competitive scene, and that's why I kind of like jumped at the opportunity, trying to start the
Mhm.
show and wanting to bring you guys out because I always, when I look at it, I always see you guys. You get seen on the competitive scenes when Madden shows you. They don't
Mhm.
really give anything else about who
Yeah,
you
they don't
guys
show the
really are.
background or anything.
Yeah, they really don't give who you guys are, and we don't get to see the guys that don't make the main stage most.
Mhm.
So I want to bring you guys out into the community so the guys can see like and learn more about who you guys, what you guys rep about, what you guys actually put into game, prepare for
Mhm.
these things because I don't think the community itself really understands what goes to see you guys step on the stage, you play games like we typically do. We're
Mhm.
playing weekend league, we're playing head to head, we're grinding out, and I don't think they really get the hours like
So much
backside of
goes
it.
into it.
So my first question to you is what really got you into the stage of wanting to play competitively? Just take it from
I'm
being amateur to going into it and trying to really knock people's heads off.
I mean, I've always been into sports and everything. I played sports in high school and everything, so I've always been competitive. And I think it was at the end of Madden 16. I was watching one of the tournaments. I forget how I came about it, and I always used to play with my brother and everything. And my brother's like, you're pretty good at the game. Like, you could beat some of these guys. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I try? So then I started playing Draft Champions because at the time it was like free to enter, and you could still qualify for tournaments then on Draft Champions. So I started doing that, just playing a bunch of leaderboard games, and I just realized that just that whole competitive drive was something that I was always looking for, and it's just so much fun just actually going out and competing.
I mean, I get it because I had that drive. Like this year, I was actually going to go down to Dallas and get into the
Mm,
non-qualifier one to sign up for it. So, just to see, you know what I mean? Like I've played for so long, I got the skills. I could probably be a
mm,
lot better when I am, but you know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm 34, 35 years old, three kids and wife.
I feel you.
So, but I do play a lot of Madden. I have probably like 2,500 hours in Madden this
Mm,
year. So I mean, I do play a lot. It's my main game. Um, but I feel you on the drive there. I played sports all my life too. Played football through college, minor league. So
mm.
the drive of playing is just there. I'm so competitive. I don't know if you caught the clip from last weekend when I smashed the controller.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I gave it a Gronk spike off the
I
back
w-
floor.
I will say though, like I'll rage at the game, but I've never like broken anything though.
I
You
mean,
know,
it happens.
like I'll get heated about something all the time, but I've never actually broken something yet.
So I mean, so now you compete in every one of them. Do you try to chase every bowl that's out there, like every Madden challenge that's out there, or do you go after certain ones?
Everyone I try to compete in. The only one I didn't do this year was the Last Chance qualifier because I was like the way this game was, like I was very disinterested about it, and I didn't really have the time to do it at the moment, so it really wasn't worth it for me. But usually every other tournament I'll always qualify for and give it my all. I've qualified for every tournament like since Madden like 18
That's very interesting. I mean, how many times have you got to the main stage?
twice.
Twice. And then how?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, is were you ever in it for the final run there?
I came in the club championship. So Madden 19, I did the Eagles.
Okay.
I came in second. I lost to Figgy in the final. could have won that game, but that was honestly my first like ever game like on the like a big
Being
stage.
that
So
deep.
I was
Yeah.
so nervous. I was shaking and everything.
I can only
Um,
imagine it. And when you talk about the money that they're starting to get now, um, it's starting to get up there. I mean, like
mhm,
I think personally myself, I think Madden's still on the low end side of it from
yeah,
what some of these other esports are getting. Like, I mean, like if you look at Call of
exactly.
Duty and League of Legends, these guys get paid, man. Like
Mhm.
Fortnite, they're getting paid. Like what I think that 14-year-old or 16-year-old kid got $1 million in that Fortnite tournament or something at the age of like
Mhm.
15 years old. I don't even know how old he was. He was somewhere in that ballpark, but I'm like $1 million, and you guys are still playing for freaking 220,000.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
you guys put in just as much time. I mean, what's the prep like getting ready for one of these tournaments?
Well, I mean, it's like a lot of the time I'll just practice with my guy Blair. He's from Haunted too.
Mm.
We've been pros pretty much since like Madden 18. We labbed a little in Madden 18, but not that much. But once Madden 19 came, we started literally just playing each other nonstop. We've probably played over like 500 plus games a year against each
Just
other.
against each other.
Yeah, and it's mainly just like one of us will go play a leaderboard game. We'll see something that we didn't see. We'll go play a friend mode against each other, and we'll test it out. That's a lot of it. Just finding the ins and outs of the game and stuff, and just perfecting everything. But
Uh,
like in terms of for the club championship, I mean, there would like I'd be up till like 3 in the morning preparing for that. Um, I actually so since it was double elimination this year, I got first rounded in the online portion, and then we actually we went to go practice, and like I changed up my like whole approach kind of. I ran my same offense but changed up my approach, and then I wound up winning out in the losers bracket. I had to win like 4 games in a row, but a lot of it is just just practice, practice.
Now, when you're in that losers bracket, are you facing somebody like twice, like kind of like Pavin did yesterday, or are you face
Um,
four different people?
it was 4 different people. One of the people I did have to face was the guy I lost to in the first round. But I knew exactly how to beat him the next time, so I won by like 30 points the next time. But um, no, it's different in that sense. For the club championship, it's different. For like the classic and stuff, it was the same way though as like what you saw yesterday.
So I mean, I know the reset games usually tend to be they either tend to be tougher or they tend to be blowouts. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I've been watching.
Mhm.
It's either if they get this reset game, it's either you guys
Mhm.
know what you got to do to stop them and you blow them out, and then
Yeah.
or you guys just play the stupid, ridiculous defensive games and they just win by
Mhm.
3 or 7 points. There's like
Mhm.
nothing going on. But like I think that's the drive too is watching how dominant some of you guys can be on the sticks. Like
Mhm.
plays that you guys can figure out yourself. Um, I can't think of the guy's name. It just won the belt. He took the Cardinals. He was for the Cardinals. I can't think of his name.
Volterex.
Yeah,
Volterex.
he did that
Mhm.
stop on the play, dead stop in the field, and then took off the backside with Chris Johnson for the
Mhm.
touchdown. Like I play sticks in my mind every time. Like I said, I'm very involved in watching this stuff and paying attention. And I seen
Mhm.
that play. I'm like, just where does that come from in somebody's mind to figure that out? Like that is mind blowing to me because you usually don't have time to even run. Like sometimes you have to
Mhm.
hit the hole so quick, and then for him to be able to stop and then take off, like I was mind blown. And
Yeah,
that's got to be
that
probably one of the biggest plays in Madden history.
it takes a lot of practice to do that too. Like I'll even say like the stop and go. I was a lot better at it last year. This year I wasn't as good as it. I did do it in my club championship game in the final against Turbo Jeff and the Broncos. Like I only scored 7 points, and that's how I did it. But you know,
Man,
I
that's
don't
just
know. It's hard. It's hard. It can be hard to do, but you got to just practice with it and everything.
yeah, I get the practice, but I mean, it's just a play, man. Like just to see him pull that out where he pulled it out
Hmm.
at, I was just like, wow. Like he just
Yeah.
this is one of those plays. It's like a wow play. Like
Hmm.
and then like so does the prep change per like tournament? Like every like if you're going from like the bowl to clubs and stuff like that, are they is the prep different per tournament?
I mean, I guess I guess it depends. Like the classics, since it's on regs, you got to only play regs games. You got to really get used to the regs teams and everything. So you can only play those games. For clubs, you got to only play salary cap. For draft champions, only draft champions. So I mean, it's just like based on the mode, pretty much. Kind of sucks that like each mode plays different, I guess you could say. But like for instance, draft champions had no abilities this year, but all the other modes had abilities. So you had to play completely different than what you usually would. So I mean, it really just depends on the tournament itself.
I might have to jump in some draft champions. I didn't realize that. I didn't really play it
Yeah,
this year. I'm not about the abilities. I'm not too big on it. What do you think about the abilities this year? I'd rather
I
just play football.
I think they're the worst. I think they're the worst thing to ever happen to Madden. I really do.
I agree 100% with you on that because I feel it's like some of the guys that I'm losing to, I'm like I wouldn't lose. You know what I mean? Like if they didn't have that
Mhm.
ability, they're not doing what they're doing. Especially
Yeah,
like this human joystick, like that thing drives me crazy.
I was
Even one
playing.
person, a
I've
mess.
been playing. I've been playing in like CFMs recently,
Mhm.
and you can get a human joystick on your running back so easily there. So you face it every game. It's the most annoying thing ever. It should just never be a thing.
Yeah, I'm hoping they'll take it out. I'm hoping. I just I don't know, but I hope
Hmm
they take it out for next year and they go back to playing football. And
Uh, it
but
should
who
just be
knows?
on. It should be based on ratings. That's how it should be.
So I
You
mean,
know,
now my other question to you is what mode do you prefer the most? Like when you're going for one of these tournaments, do you have one that you favor more than the other, like salary cap or regs or one that you prefer?
I would say salary cap just because you could build the team exactly how you want it. Um, that's probably everyone's favorite mode. I like it a lot. I've made money in that mode only. Um, but I also really like draft champions just because that's the mode that I got started with. So I feel comfortable with it. I like drafting. It's fun. But the only problem with that is you get random playbooks. You don't get to have the playbook that you want. So that's the downside about that. But yeah, I like the aspect of draft champions, but the fact that you could build your entire team exactly how you want it, kind of like Mutt. That's why salary cap I think is the best.
Now, like I seen earlier, like when it came out, well, I think the cap started out like what, 1400 this year, something like
It
that.
started well at the beginning of the year it was a lot lower. It was like
Bit lower.
800,
Yeah, it was actually it was. I recall.
so much lower.
So now, how does that factor into what you guys do with when they start moving the cap around and you guys get used to having a certain team at a certain cap? How does that really play to you guys, or does it benefit you more, or does it take away from what you're able to do?
I feel like usually it benefits you because you could always add like more to your team when it goes up. But like it can also hurt you because if you're adding more, someone else is going to add more too. So like for instance, you know I could add another wide receiver ability, but someone else could add pass rush elite. So it's there's benefits and downsides to it. I like when it's lower cap, like during club championship time, because you can't have these crazy abilities and crazy high cap cards and everything. So it's a little bit more balanced. I think like right now, for instance, for the Madden Bowl, it's going to be crazy with all these
Yeah.
golden tickets and everything, and it's. I think the Madden Bowl is going to be insane this year with the abilities and everything. So I like it when it's down more, but when it goes up, the first thing is going on Mudhead and just looking at the lineup, seeing where you can upgrade. What you have to. Sometimes you have to downgrade some positions. You know, so it's that.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's the thing too is I actually started playing some salary cap when it was lower because it gave me that like real feel to the game. I didn't Everybody
Mm,
wasn't running abilities, running all this extra X factor stuff. So I mean, it gave me the sticks. It was like whose sticks are better than
mm.
who, and
And you
that
could you could be really unique with it too, because not everyone has the same team. So like you see a lot of different teams,
that
a
I
lot of
think
different
that's what
schemes
the
and everything.
beauty of it is. I think that's the beauty
Hmm
of it is everybody has a different team. And I think that's where like myself is I have a good team in Mutt. I have like a
hmm
98 borderline 99 overall.
hmm
But at the same time, like I don't use the same players as everybody else. As everybody's on the
Yeah.
meta and I don't want the meta. I want to be different.
Mhm.
And I find that like some people have a hard time beating. I'll play in playbooks other people don't. Like everybody has been running like
Mhm.
the Raiders has been like a huge thing for everybody. It
Yep.
seems like there's like that's the playbook this year.
Yep.
And so me, like I was playing in the Washington Redskins playbook because nobody runs it.
Mhm.
And I figured like it's gonna be a little bit harder to stop because if I'm coming out with something that people aren't seeing, it's gonna take them a minute. And I played in it for a long time, and then I started seeing people kind of get like as the players were getting better, they were able to cover up a lot more.
Mhm.
And so I went into the 49ers playbook, and then I fell into the LA Chargers, and
I got you.
I've been there forever. I love it
Mhm.
because of the route combos. It just stop coming out there. Route combos are awesome.
Mhm.
Niners. But I mean, how much does a playbook play into what you can do to somebody? I mean, is a playbook that big? It's
Yeah,
words.
playbooks is one of the biggest things. You got to have the right formations, plays, and everything. Especially for this year, it was run heavy year, so a lot of people were in the Raiders playbook. But if you wanted to be pass heavy, you had to be in the West Coast playbook and run gun bunch. Some other, you'd see some other players like you saw D Croft. He was in the Patriots playbook. You'll maybe see that sometimes, but a lot of the time it's what formation's really good in the game? Okay, gun bunch, it's going to be West Coast, is the playbook you got to run if you want to run that formation. If you want to run the ball, you're going to want to run the Raiders playbook because they have the best formations to run the ball. So it's really just, what formations are the best in the game and then just, what playbooks have most of those formations pretty much.
And one thing I've noticed, I don't see too many people that are balanced in like any of the MCS. Like either they're heavy run or they're heavy pass. Why?
I think it was a
Why
little,
is that?
I think it's just because of this year. I think previous years it was different. You'd see a little bit more balance. The playbooks were a little bit more balanced, but like the Raiders playbook is so run heavy, like there's no reason to even pass. Like with how good the run is, there's no point of passing out
Yeah.
of that playbook. There's so many good run formations that you could do and audible to and everything. With like West Coast, if you're a gun bunch player, there's not that many good runs in that playbook, so you're kind of forced to pass. Halfback dive and stretch, the big thing this year. Gun bunch, doesn't have that. And the other formations in West Coast is like they'll maybe have a dive and a stretch, but they're not that good. You know what I mean? Compared to other formations that you'll see in like the Raiders playbook. So I guess it was a little bit less balanced just because of how the game was,
Yeah.
and just how the playbooks were set up this year. They were way different this year. I was playing the beta, and the second I saw the Raiders playbook, I was like, this looks literally like a custom playbook. There's so many crazy formations in it. I mean, so I knew literally from day one that it was going to be the playbook to use. But yeah, I think the playbooks were kind of bad this year. They used to be more balanced, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I felt the game. The game, me, I like I said, I play a lot of Madden, not in the competitive sense as you guys, but
Hmm.
I played enough that I get the metas. I understand. Like I played a lot of football. I played since I was 6 till I was 33 years old at a
Hmm.
high level, so I understand concepts of routes. I understand concepts of defense. I understand zone coverages. I understand where everybody's supposed to be. And the thing is, when the game first came out, I felt like the game was probably in the best state it's been in a long time. I
It's
mean,
usually like that. It's usually like that every year. The game feels good,
the
and then
game just was perfect to me. Like it was, I
they
was like,
do
man,
something.
they really did it. Like they had it in the best spot ever. And it's like, it seems like every time they do it, every year, that first patch just starts trending
Game
it
goes downhill.
downhill.
Uh huh.
And like, I don't understand it. Um, they say they're listening. Where are they?
Hmm.
And that's my question as I get into it all the time. Is like I'll be sitting here and like the play I had, I think it was this past weekend, I literally intercepted the ball. And you could see my hands grab the ball. I got the animation, and then you switch. The ball shot through my hands, and the guy caught it from behind and caught it behind me. And that was like I was the end of it. Like I was eating this guy alive. Like I shut this guy down. This guy had nothing. I mean,
Hmm.
destroying him. And I had enough right there and then. I just turned around and just took this controller, just spiked it off the ground. And I was just like, and I looked in the camera, dead eyed, and I looked at it, and I screamed. I was like, "EA, fix your effing game!" Like I just lost it. Like that, I have not been like that in a long time, but that was it. I lost it that night. Like I just had enough.
Mhm.
But like that's why
Yeah,
I try to look at it and just try to understand how you guys keep your composure sometimes. Like because some of these guys,
it's
like
tough.
you look at Joke. Joke's one of the guys. Like I would hate playing him.
Mhm.
Like I would give him a like I feel as I would give him a game just because he ran what was it? He ran that Lamar Jackson when Lamar Jackson first
Mhm.
came out and got all that craziness to him. He
Yep.
just ran the ball with Lamar Jackson. Like I get you have money on the line, but how is that fun? Like to me, it's not fun. To me, that's boring. Like to me, you're just doing what works because are you not good enough to go anywhere else? That's how I feel. I'm not saying he's not a good player. I know he's a great player,
Mhm.
but to me, it's like if that's all you're gonna do, like, are you good?
Mhm.
questions I That's the questions that go through my mind because I feel as you can't like I'm that type of players. Like if you can't go in your playbook,
Mhm.
then I played a game.
Yeah, I mean, when the money's on the line, it's different. Like you really like, especially for that amount that he was playing for. Like you just got to do what works. Like same thing for Volterex. Why he didn't have a quarterback on his salary cap roster. Like it's unfortunately as much as it sucks, like that's what worked and that's what won him 100K. But like it's, you just honestly like you just got to do what works. Like if you want to compete, like you can have your own style, and like if you're real, like if you have your own style, you have to be really good at it in order to really compete at a high level. I feel. But other than that, you got to run what works. Unfortunately, to compete, that's the thing that sucks about it. I wish you could run like unique stuff and really compete with the top guys, but that's just not how Madden has been in recent years.
Yeah.
It's always been gun bunch versus gun bunch. This year it's all running and everything. You just got to do what works the best.
Now, if you had like, who would I guess the question would be this one. This one you can answer this how you want to answer this.
Hmm.
I'm gonna shoot this one. So who be the biggest guy you want to knock out in a game, a tournament? Like, is there a guy that you just there's a guy that you just boils your blood and you just want to beat him every time you see him?
I mean, I don't think there's any guy that like that boils my blood or anything. It would probably be Turbo Jeff because I lost him in the final. I'd like to play him again and everything, but I mean, I don't think there's really anyone that I really want to beat them by so much and everything. Like I'm not into, like I don't care about that stuff. Like I'm cool about that stuff. If I get beat, I get beat. Whatever. I'm not on bad terms with anyone in the community, so
Yeah, I mean,
I don't.
I see
There's
most
no
of you
bad
guys get
blood.
along. Most of you guys get along. I'm not saying bad blood. I'm saying just
Hmm.
there's a guy that it's you just want that's the guy you want to take down.
I mean, there's definitely people that like like I'll beat like a top player, and then there's one guy that I've never beaten or whatever. One guy that I haven't beaten is Pony Montana.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, like I got all the respect in the world for him, but for just whatever reason, I've never been able to beat him. So I'd like to beat him at some point, but
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was kind of shooting at is if there's a guy that you really want to beat. You know what I mean? Like I'm always that type of guy. Is like if you're at the top, that's who I want. You know what I mean? I want
hmm
to face you. I want to beat you.
hmm
And I know there's some people seem like they have bad blood, but they on the stage, everybody gets their tempers going
yeah,
because they're playing for money. You're playing somewhat. Some of these guys are playing for their livelihood. Like,
hmm
like when Henry and Mo went at it, you know, what I mean, had a little bad blood on the internet when he was younger and couldn't compete, and
hmm
Henry starts popping off. Like I was like, okay, I see you, I see you,
hmm
16-year-old popping off, like coming back at him. Like Mo's talking, Henry's talking back. I was like, all
hmm
right, and I mean, I was like super impressed with the kid. Super impressed. The kid kept his composure. Then when he got to that main stage, he had to beat Mo twice. That's not an easy task. Period. I mean, like
Yeah,
I
no,
said,
he was lights out this year.
like
He was just
it's
He was just so much more well prepared than everyone else in that tournament. Um,
I
you
was
know.
mind blown. I was like mind blown. This kid came out of nowhere. Like I've heard of him before. Wiseman couldn't get in the tournament because he's too young. But like
Mhm,
I was not expecting him to just fire out the gates like he did, and he was just taking people down. Like I mean, he was taking big names down.
mhm. I mean, we expected him to make a run because, like the people in the competitive scene, like we all knew about him.
Mm.
Um, but I don't think maybe we expected him to come in second. Um, maybe top 8, top 16, but definitely getting finishing second. A lot better than what we expected, but he definitely showed out this year.
Yeah, I mean, and then I mean that tournament itself. I mean, you lost some big guys. I mean, you lost Skimbo and you
Mm.
lost Drini early, and
That tournament was so wild. I remember it too. I got first round in that tournament too.
it just seems like it's like you because you're playing like seem like you don't like I said, this is one of those things that you don't hear about these guys that are behind the scenes. I mean, you got a field of
Mhm,
what 516 that it was, and that's a lot of people. I mean, and then to
mhm,
see the first girl come out, she comes out, and I'd never heard of her,
mhm.
and he ends up knocking somebody out. I'm like, going like it was just like it was anybody's game. It was like nobody was real dominant except for like Henry. You had
Mhm.
Henry, you had Kiv. Like he was, they were Kiv was good until he had to face. I think he had to face Henry, and Henry knocked him out.
Yeah, he lost to Henry.
And uh, just to see Henry come in, hold Mo, go force the second game, and
A
then
lot. I mean, a lot of it for that tournament, especially. None of us knew how to stop the run. That was the biggest thing.
well, that's early in the game yet too.
Yeah, like
Yes,
we knew about like the Cowboys and Ezekiel with armbar at the time, how crazy it was. But some of us, we wanted to pass and everything. Like I was passing at the time, but it didn't work out. Like all the Cowboys, people that were using the Cowboys were the ones that were winning because it was so dominant. And because none of us really knew how to stop the run at the time, and Henry and his crew, they found the defense to stop the run at the time, and it worked out in their favor.
yeah. I mean, like that's what killed him at the end too. I mean, he got hit by that armbar, and
Hmm.
Mo ended up beating him with the field goal. And I was just like, that I think that day was the day I really hated abilities because I was pulling for
Yeah.
Henry. You know, what I mean, I'm always about the underdog taking down the top dog. You know what I mean? Like, especially being young like that. Like that always like brightens me up to see somebody that competitive force it, and then I mean, it went the wrong way because he got
Hmm.
armbarred. But I mean, my eyes, you don't hang your head on that, man. That's your first tournament, and you
Uh,
take second
yeah.
place. You make what 30K in your first tournament.
Hmm.
I'm cool. You know what I mean? Like, and then and it was just like the same thing as when you got to see Noah. Noah comes out, and Noah just he was eating in the tournament, bro. Like
Hmm.
he had a defense, and I mean he played lights out defense the whole time. Like he
He,
played
yeah,
great football.
he was getting hit sticks left and right. I mean, that was the thing that separated him was his defense in that
Yeah,
tournament.
he was
Just played
definitely
lights out.
he played great, and then to see him hold the belt, like I'm just like it was wild because I'm not used to seeing it. You know what I mean? I'm used to seeing
Mm,
W's, problems,
mm,
Skimbos, Grinnies, Kevs. You know, I'm used to seeing those guys up there, and then to see these younger cats coming out of nowhere, and they're firing,
mm,
dude. They're throwing stuff at Skimbo that Skimbo hasn't seen. You know what I mean? They're throwing stuff at all these other guys that these guys haven't seen before, and it's just amazing to see how much the Madden competitive scene has evolved.
mm,
And like I said, you don't hear about some of these guys. Like I know you personally, I've seen you get on some of these things and whatnot. So I've known a little bit about you, not a lot. That's
mm.
why I wanted to bring you on and push you out into the community. Um, but I mean, like, so what's your next step? Are you gonna go full tilt into 21 here, or are you
I
gonna
mean,
take a break?
no, I'm still gonna play and everything. I mean, the second the beta comes out, I'm gonna be playing that all the time. Yeah, I mean, I'm just waiting for it to start. The next game to come out, and then just prepare from there.
Now, is it? I guess you're preparing would probably change per per year, like how you're going to go about what you're going to run and whatnot, just
Yeah, I
because and
mean,
everything.
yeah, I mean the game changes every year, so I mean, every year I've always started out in like gun bunch and then adapted from there based on like what's working better, what's not. Um, I mean, it's just we'll see how the game goes at the beginning of the year. Depending on how it goes.
Now, are you guys looking like are you and Blair looking for people to add to your crew and get more reps in with other people so you're seeing different things, or are you guys
Yeah,
just going
we're
to stick to your typical guys bang
no,
out against each other?
we're definitely trying to get more people. There's definitely other people in the community that we've gotten lab games in with and stuff. We're definitely trying to get more reps with other players because I think that was our biggest downfall this year. We both came in second, but we only had reps against each other.
Mhm.
We didn't have reps against other players and everything. And the other players we had reps against, weren't the top tier talent. So
So you're not
just
seeing what these other guys
yeah.
are throwing around, so you're not
Mhm.
getting don't know how
And
to
I got
really beat it when you
another
see
thing
it.
this year, like I didn't play as many like leaderboard games and everything, so like I didn't see that much on the leaderboards. So definitely next year, I think I'm gonna try and play as many leaderboard games as I can, because they're honestly like free reps against players that you won't get anywhere else. Like you're gonna get their full scheme and everything. You're gonna see everything they do, and it just gets you so much better at the game. I just didn't play. I honestly didn't play as much as I did want like in previous years this year. Um, like for the Madden Classic, I was not prepared whatsoever because going into it, I was working 80-hour weeks, so I didn't play the game that much. Um, but I mean, I mean, just it all depends on how the game's gonna be.
What's your take on Pavin yesterday, man? I mean, the kid just seemed to play lights out. He started off slow and then he just exploded.
Yeah, he balls out all the time. He's a great player. I mean, winning twice in a row against the same person on that stage is really hard to do. And the way he did it in such a dominant way was really impressive.
I mean, you think he's back now? Because I know he was a little slow throughout the year. He wasn't his dominant self like he typically is.
No, I think the way with how he's playing, it's a little different from everyone else because he's utilizing like the playmaker ability that you won't see other players use as much. He's definitely going like a different route. Kind of reminds me of when he won the club championship last year because he ran bunch but a different bunch, so it's like kind of reminded me of that. So I could see a run from him, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was super impressed. Like, I mean, the way he started out, he started out a little slow to me, and I was like, man, I was a
Hmm.
little worried at first. I was like, it didn't seem like him, and I was like, man, he's gonna just stick in that same spot that he's been in all year. And then next two games, I mean, he had the guy, he had Golden so frustrated it was unreal. Like
Hmm.
you could see it on his face. Like Golden flipped the control. I'm very detail oriented, so I caught Golden flip the controller and he was ready to twist. And I was like, "Oh, here it goes." It's like you're gonna break the controller, and it's just gonna be it. And I
Hmm.
mean, to just be that dominant, like I said, them back to back games, like they either go one way, man. You either get that reset, you get that nice reset game, and you take off and destroy them,
Hmm.
or play a tight game. He just destroyed them. I mean,
Hmm.
I was just like, to me, it just didn't seem like Golden was prepared.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Pavan just played lights out. I think that's all it was. I think he was so prepared for this. You know.
I love watching the kid's he's like it's funny because he seems like a very reserved person, and then he hits the sticks and he's just this another guy, man. Like and I see that with so many guys that play, man. Like it's just I love the fire that comes from guys. Like
Hmm.
he'll just sit there, guys will be cool, calm, collective, and then you're on the sticks and you score a touchdown, and then you're just like in the
Hmm.
guy's face. I think that's what drives me to it is just to watch it. Like we watch it channel every time it's on, and I have
Hmm.
some guys that have never seen the MCS, so I actually had it up on stream yesterday, letting them get a feel what the MCS was, and
Hmm.
getting to learn, like I said, getting to learn a little bit more about you guys and who you are. Um, but it's definitely been great to get a little bit to get more to know about you. My communities, they're digging it. They get to know more about you, so they'll definitely be looking out for you. Um, dropped your link in the chat and everything, so
Appreciate that.
those guys are following you, so they'll get to see you play if you end up streaming any Madden at all. I don't know if you put your game out there like that. I know some people don't, some people do.
Mhm.
Um,
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about streaming Mutt next year. I say that all the time. I say that every year, and then I never do. But I mean, I guess it really just depends.
yeah, I mean, like I
See
said,
how I
I
feel.
know Henry's disappeared, so
Hmm.
I was just talking to him chat not too long ago, and he disappeared. I was like, "Where you been?" He's like, "Man, I'm not putting my stuff out there."
Yeah,
Yeah,
come tournament time, you're not going to see any of the competitive players like streaming all that stuff. They don't want anyone to see the stuff they're running.
and I mean, I get it, but this is awesome, man. I love the interview. I love the energy and the flow of it, and I appreciate you being on.
And thanks, man. I appreciate being on here.
You ever want to come back, let me know. Definitely going to be talking. Probably definitely talk more about you and more with you during these when tournament time comes in and see how you're preparing and what you got going on. Try to keep in contact with you, keep these guys informed on what you're doing because I know they're going to be wondering now.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm going to stop it right there. And like I said, I appreciate it and thank you.
All right, thanks, man.